So now we know all the things your page needs to do. What is actually going in there? So I have sort of a basic outline that will work for any kind of project that has to do with art and community, which is your project. And I really encourage you to try to take this outline and make it work for your project. It has worked for every client I've worked with. It'll work for whatever platform you're on. It's even exactly the same outline that Kickstarter is actually suggesting these exact same points in a new lab that they're introducing. Seed and Spark asks these same questions when they are having you set up their page. Trust me, these are exactly the questions that you should be answering. So let us go through and set up your wonderful page. Here are the questions, and here's the order we're going to do them in. First of all, the title and subtitle of your page. Then we're going to ask, who are you? What are you making? Why do you need help? Like, why are you crowdfunding? What can people get? And then we're going to say thank you. Then we're going to address the risks and challenges, which is a required section of the page on Kickstarter. That's actually a separate section from your story. And then we'll talk about the video and the reward sections. All right. The title and the subtitle. This is a section, the first things that you have to fill out. And people do this in a lot of different ways. Here is how I recommend you do it. The title, A, is making B. And this is actually how Patreon sets it up. They'll say, who are you and what are you making? A, name of the act. That's your name or your band name or your group name. And B, the type of art. So here are two examples. The Beatles are making their second rock and roll album. Stephen King is writing his 50th spooky thriller novel. Okay? This is very simple. You're about to add some more detail, but make it simple because you want this to really pop. You want people to know what you're doing, and add detail, add it, make it exciting, but don't make it too complicated here. The subtitle is where it gets interesting, and also where we're going to pull in that mission statement we have been talking about so very, very much. The mission statement and some enticing details. That's what goes into the subtitle. Why this project? Why now? And then some content and subject matter spice. All right. So here are the two subtitles for those two titles that I just gave you. So, standing up to the establishment with unrestrained tunes about sex, drugs, and walruses. Okay. So our mission statement is we're standing up to the establishment with unrestrained tunes, and then our enticing details are sex, drugs, and walruses. Okay. Then this next one, a modern take on the thriller where technology is the hero and you are the villain. So a modern take on the thriller, that's our mission statement. And technology is the hero and you are the villain. That's the content and subject matter. I think that makes sense. That's pretty easy. So we're still making it very clear what we're talking about, but we're also telling people why this project, why now, like what's new about this thing, and some cool little tidbits that are new and unique for this thing. All right, so now let's hop into the page. The most important part of the Laser Campaign's trademark page outline is headers. So this is mostly just for Kickstarter because, like I said, Kickstarter does not give you that much options in terms of how you're designing your page. I want you to make visual headers for the page to break up each section. So this is going to break up the page visually. It's going to help people break up the page in their minds, and so that they can skip to the parts that matter to them. You'll notice that the next section, the very first thing that's on your page, is who am I? If your super fans are coming to the page, they already know who you are. And that's a section they can skip, but not if they don't know where the next section starts, right? So I think you should have a header that just says who am I, and then the next section is going to be what am I making. They can skip right past who am I and go straight to what am I making. I have dimensions here. I have made this so easy for you because I know some people, art is hard. Size 1084 by 197, that means it's going to be nice and wide. It's not going to make your page super long to have these headers in here. I even have a template here that's free you can use in Canva. You don't need to own Photoshop. You really don't even need to know how to make images. And you can make these wonderful headers that will go in your page. What do they look like? I'll show you. This is them. So these are 4 different headers, all for the first section, who we are. They all, you can see right here. Sometimes you can use a photo, you could use a design, you can use art. That's what the second one is. This person, Lucia, is a cartoonist, so she decided to do a artistic thing. This is an idea. Now, I know this feels formulaic. Maybe I'm telling you to do exactly this, but stealing ideas from successful Kickstarters is a really, really good idea. It's something that is a very long-standing tradition. It's really not stealing. These are a really, really good way to use the platform. And it is something that I highly encourage you to do. It really draws people through the story of your page. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot of text or a lot of pictures, and people just are going to get a little bit lost. Having these headers, especially uniform headers, so that when people get lost in text and images, they can see a header and be like, okay, time for the next chapter. I'm being brought back to central. Oh, it's very grounding. It's really nice. So try to do this if you can. Okay, now let's hop into our sections. Who are you? This is a brief introduction for new fans and old fans. So you want to say who you are, what you make. The main point of this is, again, like we said at the very beginning, to demonstrate you are professional, you're going to follow through with this project, and that you deserve people's money. So testimonials and credits. So things like you've charted, you have international tours, you have performed places, you have been in exhibits, you have released art before, you've been published, whatever it is that shows that you have done things, nominated for awards, whatever that is, that's what you want. Testimonials are great. If you have a quote that shows that about what you do, that's even better. Sometimes it's easier to have other people describe you and compliment you than to do it about yourself. So feel free to use those in this section. Just don't make it too long. And then include here, what have you been up to lately? So maybe a casual fan hasn't been keeping up with what you're doing. What's the latest news? And then 1 to 2 links where people can check out and verify. So maybe if you're a musician, a link to listen to your music for free. You know, you're right here, you're asking people for money. So where can people go check out the stuff you've done before? Because this page is all going to be about the future. So where can people view the art you've done before, listen to the music you've done before, read some blog posts from before, read a short story for free, whatever it is. 1 to 2 links where people can check out and verify the fact that you exist and that you are professional and that you are not going to run away with people's money, that you can be trusted to follow through. And if people haven't heard of you, just so that they know that they're going to like your art. And this whole thing really doesn't need to be longer than a paragraph, right? This doesn't have to be your whole story. This is not the full paragraph that's going to go like in a pamphlet or a book. This is very short, but this is very important. Who are you and why should people trust you? What are you making? Yay! This is the most important part. And this is where we are bringing in that mission statement. Ideally, both of them. So why this project? Why now? For your career and for your backers. So tell me about this art. What are you making? Why are you excited about it? Why should other people be excited about it right now? And why is this the next step in your career? Why is this the project that you're making right now? So what is this album, this project, this art about? What is the content and what is the significance? Now, I know that I am talking about it like it has to change the world, but like I said in the mission statement section way back at the beginning, if it's okay if it's I'm showcasing a virtuosic talent. I want to make people laugh. I have created beautiful images. Whatever it is, just tell us what this art is about, okay? What are you combining? What's unique? You have something unique in here. Otherwise, you're just making a carbon copy of something else, and I know you're not doing that. So why this project? Why now? What is this album project about? Images and samples of the art, the album. That's what it goes right here. So this is the part where you start showing some images. And like I said in the last section, remember that you want these pictures to be wider than they are tall, because otherwise they're going to start taking up a ton of space, and you don't want this page to get too long. So 2 images max, and if they you can edit them so that they're next to each other so that it doesn't make the page too long. That's a great idea. The project in the context of the world, if that makes sense, let's talk about why this project, why now, and cool exclusive things about the stuff, why you can't get this anywhere else. why backing this project here on crowdfunding is going to be an advantage for your backer. Now, not rewards really, but like why this project is super cool. Okay? Why do you need help? So this is the people have found out who you are. They're like, yeah, of course, I know this person. They're a great artist. They found out what you're making. Oh, this is a really, really great project. And now their next question is, okay, but why is this project here on a crowdfunding platform on Kickstarter or Patreon and not at Walmart? Why is it not, being sold to me by Big Machine Records? Why is this something that I have to personally fund on a crowdfunding platforms? So this is where you get really positive and really excited. It's not like, well, nobody will fund me. No, this is the benefits of coming directly to the customer, both for you and for them. So this is why you aren't working through a label or a production company or a film studio, and why it is good for you and for them. I'm going to just read to you the text that I use on my projects for my band, because I think having an exact example will help you. But you know that I love crowdfunding very much, and you can adapt this. You can take as much of this text as you need, and replace the parts that are relevant for you to make it work for your project. Because crowdfunding is amazing, and if you just tell your audience, by the way, you have made such a good choice being here, and you are making a choice in my life and in the world by crowdfunding, they're going to be so excited to just click that back button. Here we go. The Double Clicks, which is the name of my band, are a completely independent crowdfunded operation. With no major record label, we depend completely on our audience to help us make our art. The advantage of that, and this is huge, is that there is nothing between us and you. Our music goes straight from our hearts to your ears. We love it. It means so much to us to be able to make just the thing we want and just the thing you want too. If you don't like it, we can't make it, so we do our very best. We need your help to pay for recording and our studio rent, to produce CDs, merchandise, and promotional items for the album, to get the necessary software, instruments, and plugins, to master and mix the music, to submit the music to iTunes and other music stores, and to generally create something from nothing. We thank you for supporting art and artists and for making the world more beautiful. Right? So this is the why am I on Kickstarter question, why am I on Patreon question, and maybe the answer is there's no other way for me to do it. I can't get signed to a record label. No one will answer my emails. But let's turn it around. Let's make it super positive, and let's say because it's beautiful, which really, truly it is. All right. Let's get to the next part, which is the exciting part, which a lot of people are going to scroll right to, which is why we have that header. What can people get? This is the rewards section. Yay! You won't need this section necessarily on Patreon because the reward sections allow images and they're really easy to use. But on Kickstarter, you can't put images or long descriptions in the rewards section. So I think you should have a separate section called What Can You Get? Right in the rewards section or right in the story, the main section of your page. So here we go. This is going to have pictures of your project, of your products, and you should put that in order of the reward levels. This should have details about the art that you didn't have in the What Am I Making? So like a track list maybe, or a chapter list, content list, whatever, of your project. Any details or anticipated questions go here. So size range, if you have shirts or other products, size of pins, anything that might affect whether people purchase things. As much as you can have all of the possible questions answered, it means that people aren't going to have that question in their head and then not ask you and just not back the project. Keep in mind that people are lazy or they don't want to bother you. So just think about all their possible questions and go ahead and put them on the answers on the page. Don't be redundant with the description of the rewards in the right column, so you don't need to just list what the rewards are, but you do want to have any additional information and images. Notes about international shipping, just like, by the way, international shipping is allowed or whatever, make sure to have that here. And then notes about add-ons, or if you aren't doing add-ons, say that here. This was mentioned briefly in rewards section, but if you have a complicated reward system where you are going to have a thing after your project where people can buy additional copies of things like additional shirts, additional pins. There are services like things called Backer Kit or Pledge Manager where people can do that kind of thing. It's an additional cost for you, additional cost for them. You should note that here. If you're not going to do that, just write, we're not doing add-ons. Most of the time, I recommend don't do that unless you already know what that is and you're really excited about having complicated merch. Don't do it. You don't, most of the time, need it. Some people who are really into Kickstarter are going to ask you about it, probably, like, can we make it complicated? And you can just say no, and we'll just have the stuff available to purchase individually after the project. We don't need to make it an add-on thing because that's just going to be too expensive. Okay? So just write here if you're going to have add-ons. All right. The next section is where does the money go? And this is, I think, a really nice, it's optional, but a really nice thing to have here just to show that you have budgeted your project and you know you're not going to, and people can know, and you know that you're not going to lose money. Because there are so many projects that have launched in the past, especially in the early days of crowdfunding, where people have launched a project and then been like, what? This is more expensive than I thought. I had no idea. So having a pie chart, even just like this, that shows, by the way, I have budgeted out my project. I have done the math. I know that it is expensive, that there are taxes and fees, that shipping is expensive. I know what it's going to be like, and I can still fulfill this project. So use the spreadsheets that we used before. Go ahead and create a pie chart from those. That's a pretty easy thing to do. You'll want to group your costs by type, which is why I didn't do that in Kickstarter, because I don't know what your types of costs are. Why I didn't do that in the Google Drive, but you know, design and printing, album production are the type of costs that I have here. And just group those costs together, make a pie chart. It doesn't need to be 100% down to the percentage and dollar accurate. Just give them an estimate of what you are planning to spend the money on, and so that they know, hey, this person has at least thought about it and they are planning ahead. The last section is thank you, and again, optional, but I think you should thank your team and thank your fans. Chances are, at this point, a lot of people have done some work for you for free, and they have taken a look at your page, they have helped you take photos, they have helped you design things, and they've come to your shows, and they've, you know, bought your art when you were just starting out. Give them a shout out here, and the point of this is not just to show gratefulness to the people who have worked for you, but also show your fans that by helping you, they can make you happy, right? They can make you happy and thankful by backing the project. All right, the next section is a separate section in the Kickstarter platform. I don't think this is necessarily required if you're doing like a Patreon, but for Kickstarter you should definitely have it. Risks and challenges. Do not ignore this. So you should put some anticipated problems and put some problems you are overcoming. So saying there are no problems shows that you don't know what's going to go wrong. Something will always go wrong. It's a little bit like the interview question, what is your greatest weakness? If you just say, I have no weaknesses, it's obvious you're hiding something. Usually I say, okay, well, up to this point, we have completed X, Y, and Z. We have written all the songs. We have recorded all the demos. Obviously, there could be some problems. We can never anticipate manufacturing delays and illness, but we have built in a 2-month buffer, and we are not concerned about this X, Y, and Z. We have recorded a CD before, and we know the problems that could come up, that kind of thing. Do not ignore this section. Make sure you put in some problems that could come up. Again, just think about it like that problem, the interview question of your greatest weakness. All right. After you've done that main story, you're going to have to fill out the rewards section. Okay. You get to write a title for each of the rewards. I think you should prioritize being intuitive over clever. So like the Super Frog might be a little bit more confusing than just the CD, right? But if you can come up with something that is both intuitive and clever, that's awesome. Kickstarter Patreon, most of these platforms by now have a listing feature where you can write in each of the different items that you are offering and put those in there like a little bullet pointed list. I would recommend using that, and don't be redundant by saying you get a CD and a pin and then just add CD pin. Just make it short and sweet, because again, you don't want to make it super long to skim through. Provide enough information to make an independent choice if people haven't read the page. So a copy of the new CD instead of just like the name of the CD, if people don't know what the name of the CD is, that kind of thing. And use your accurate shipping costs. Make sure, because you're going to have to put those in here, round up and include materials. You're also going to have to put the estimated delivery date. I would recommend adding on a couple months there, because like we just talked about in the risks and challenges section, something might go wrong. So, you'd rather have it seem like things are going to come later and have them come early than have things come late. All right, that's the end of page outline. I know that's a lot of information, but it's honestly kind of fun. It's probably the most fun part of Kickstarter or Patreon, is actually putting together the page, because that's the part where the audience is going to see it and you get to show them what you're making. So enjoy making that page, and we will be right back in the next video.